Arab Summit has kicked off in the Iraqi capital Baghdad with the participation of Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf in his capacity as representative of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The Kremlin has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin could meet Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, but only if certain agreements were reached. And as the UN warned against serious humanitarian situation prevailing in Gaza, the Israeli army pursued its attacks, killing several Palestinians and threatened to extend its operations in the territory. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. Good afternoon. First in our news, following instructions given by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Interior Minister, Brahim Merad, accompanied by the Minister of Public Works and Basic Infrastructure, Lakhdar Rakhrouch, the Minister of Hydraulics, Taha Derbel, has visited the regions affected by the recent bad weather conditions to inquire about the conditions of those affected families. The ministerial delegation also inquired about the measures taken at local level to improve the situation. The delegation also stressed the damage caused by the bad weather conditions. Algeria's ambassador to the Holy See, Rashid Beledhan, took part in the ceremony attended by ambassadors accredited to the Vatican ahead of the Mass to inaugurate the pontificate of Pope Leo XVI. Ahead of his participation in the ceremony's Mass, Ambassador Beledhan reiterated to Pope Leo XVI the congratulations of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, following his election as Pope of the Catholic Church and Head of State of the Vatican. He added that the President of the Republic has made the tripartite or peace, justice, truth the pillar of his policy at national, regional, and international level. The Minister of State in charge of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arqab, has highlighted in Sorrento, Italy, Algeria's energy strategy based on boosting natural gas production, reducing the country's carbon footprint, and expanding the use of renewable energies through a 15,000 megawatt solar energy project by 2035, of which 3,200 megawatt is already underway, in addition to energy efficiency and consumption rationalization programs. Marim Barsha has more details in this report.
During a high-level session entitled The Central Role of the Mediterranean in the Global Energy Transition, Achievements and Strategies, held as part of the Towards the South International Forum, Mr. Arqab shared Algeria's overall vision of sustainable energy transition and the consolidation of the Euro-Mediterranean partnership in the field of energy, reiterating Algeria's readiness to support all initiatives aimed at strengthening energy security, boosting sustainable development, and meeting the challenges of climate change, notably in the southern Mediterranean. This, the minister said, is necessary to build an equitable and sustainable regional cooperation based on solidarity and win-win partnerships for all. The minister called for the establishment of an effective Euro-Mediterranean partnership based on the sharing of benefits and responsibilities. Referring to the major regional energy projects in which Algeria is involved, notably in the field of green energy, Mr. Arqab asserted that Algeria, thanks to its geographical position, its energy infrastructures and its technical expertise, is one of the countries capable of leading the transition in the field of green hydrogen. The minister also discussed the Medlink project aimed at exporting green electricity to Italy every year, as well as the electricity interconnection project between northern and southern Algeria, with an investment of over $3 billion aimed at deploying renewable energies on the large scale and expanding their export to Africa. Mr. Arqab reiterated Algeria's full support to the Mattei Plan as a strategic opportunity to strengthen energy cooperation between the two shores of the Mediterranean and broaden the partnership with Africa, stressing that Algeria and Italy share a common ambition to establish a solid and comprehensive energy and economic partnership. He added that the energy future of the Mediterranean depends on our joint capacity to build cooperation based on mutual interest, solidarity, and collective responsibility.
And the 34th ordinary session of the Arab Summit has kicked off in the Iraqi capital, Baghdad, with the participation of the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad, and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, in his capacity as representative of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The latest developments in the Palestinian cause are expected to be at the top of the agenda for the session in light of the ongoing Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people. In this respect, Algeria's diplomacy chief said the Arab League must strengthen its solidarity around the Palestinian issue. Let's listen to Mr. Attaf.
In light of this imperative, we are required today to strengthen our solidarity around our central issue, because our defense of this issue is not a matter of generosity or kindness from our side, but rather it is a matter of loyalty to a historical responsibility that the Arab nation bears on its shoulders, and towards legal, moral and civilizational commitments that the entire humanity bears.
The minister stressed the need for unity among Arab countries to safeguard safety and stability in the Middle East region as a whole.
Today we are called upon to show greater solidarity with our brothers in Lebanon and Syria, because the unity, sovereignty and safety of these two countries remain an integral part of the issue of security and stability in the entire Middle East region. We are called upon today to make up for what we missed in terms of efforts and initiatives to resolve the raging crises in Sudan, Libya, Yemen and Somalia, because the absence of the Arab rule opened the door wide to foreign interference that wrongly jeopardized the present and future of these wounded Arab countries. These are the pillars on which Algeria relied in fulfilling its Arab mandate in the UN Security Council.
That was the Minister in charge of, or Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf. The participants will also discuss the current political situation in the Arab world, as well as ways of strengthening joint Arab action and making Arab multilateral action more effective. Mr. Attaf will also represent the President of the Republic at the 5th session of the Arab Development Summit, which will address the common socio-economic challenges facing Arab countries and the prospects for adopting collective measures to strengthen food, water, and energy security for the benefit of Arab states and peoples, as well as the development of inter-Arab trade within the framework of the Greater Arab Free Trade Area. Arab heads of state and government are meeting today in the Iraqi capital Baghdad as part of the 34th summit meeting of the Arab League to tackle several issues, and more particularly the situation in Gaza. Mariam Barshi has more details.
Addressing the meeting, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez called on more pressure to be put on the Israeli government to stop the massacre taking place in Gaza. He stressed, while evoking the means offered by the international law to intensify pressure on Israel, that his country was considering presenting a draft resolution to the UN requesting from the International Court of Justice to issue a ruling on the Israeli government's respect of its international obligations. The Spanish premier pointed out that his country would back another draft resolution calling for an end to the humanitarian blockade imposed on Gaza, highlighting the major human and material losses triggered off by the Israeli attacks. In this connection, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres stressed the need of enforcing a permanent ceasefire, rapidly saying that he is alarmed by reports about Israel's plan to extend its operations in Gaza. The Arab League's meeting will focus on the continued Israeli bombardments targeting Gaza for over 1 year now, and on the disastrous humanitarian situation prevailing in the Palestinian territory since the occupying authorities blocked all access to food and medical supplies. Earlier, the Iraqi Foreign Minister Fouad Hussein said that the decisions related to the reconstruction of the devastated enclave and adopted during last March's meeting in Cairo will be endorsed by during the summit. The Arab leaders will also discuss the challenges the region is currently facing and examine ways of securing stability in the area.
And Algeria has affirmed from New York through its deputy permanent representative to the United Nations, Tawfiq El Koudri, that any attempt to justify the actions of the Zionist occupation in the Gaza Strip in light of the aggression and massacres it is committing against Palestinians was groundless and reprehensible. In his address to the Security Council meeting on the protection of civilians in armed conflicts, Mr. Qudri stated that 56,000 people were reported missing worldwide last year, 11,000 of whom were recorded in the Gaza Strip alone, recalling that the Gaza Strip had suffered 5 tragedies in a single year. Despite its small size, the Algerian diplomat stressed that anyone who remains insensitive to the figure lacks the sense of humanity. Let's listen to him.
من بين 56,000 مفقود.
The number of missing persons continues to rise, as if we don't learn from destruction. During 2024 alone, the International Committee of the Red Cross recorded more than 56,000 new cases of missing persons in more than 120 conflicts, 56,000 sufferings, and 56,000 dreams suspended between heaven and the grave. We reiterate our call for the adoption of clear, rigorous, and transparent mechanisms that guarantee absolute respect for international humanitarian law and ensure effective accountability for those who violate the law. This is not a choice, but a duty. No one is above accountability.
من عمر الاحتلال.
Mr. Qudri reiterated Algeria's call for the adoption of clear, rigorous and transparent mechanisms that guarantee absolute respect for international humanitarian law and ensure effective accountability for those who violate the law.
من بين 56,000 مفقود.
Among the 56,000 missing persons recorded last year, 11,000 of them were from Gaza. Yes, Gaza is small territory in terms of area, but big in terms of suffering, which alone ended a fifth of the world's tragedies in a single year. Whoever does not see these figures a cry has lost their sense of humanity. Furthermore, any attempt to justify what is happening in Gaza, in what appears to be a place that does not abide by international law, is a heinous attempt that must be condemned. The suffering of Palestinians, with disappearances among other things, is not the fruit of October 7th, but is as old as occupation.
De la rendición de cuentas.
من عمر الاحتلال.
The Algerian diplomat also called for ensuring that persons deprived for their liberty are duly registered while providing their families with accurate information about them, thereby urging respect for the mandate conferred on the ICRC so as to enable it to play an effective monitoring role in ensuring the humane treatment of detainees. As the UN warned against the serious humanitarian situation prevailing in Gaza, the Israeli army pursued its attacks, killing several Palestinians and threatened to extend its operation in the territory. The news agency Wafa said 10 people were killed and several others wounded in the Israeli bombardments which hit the northern area of Jabalia and Khan Yunis in the southern part of the Strip. This came as at least 7 European countries, including Norway, Spain, Ireland, Malta, Iceland, Luxembourg, and Slovenia, expressed their concerns at the humanitarian disaster in Gaza and called for a safe and unhindered UN access to the besieged enclave. In a joint communique, they affirmed that they would not remain silent in the human-originated disaster taking place in Gaza, recalling that over 50,000 people have lost their lives, while warning that many others may die of famine in the coming days and weeks unless measures were taken rapidly. The 7 European countries called on the Israeli authorities to immediately reconsider its current policy, abstain from launching new military operations, and lift the blockade in order to guarantee a safe, rapid, and unconditional access to humanitarian aid across Gaza. In this connection, they said they rejected any attempt or plan to secure a demographic change and recalled that the forced displacement or expulsion of the Palestinian people by any means was unacceptable and constitutes a violation of international law. They pledged to continue to work as part of a UN framework towards a lasting and peaceful solution based on a two-state solution. Shifting now to Ukraine, where the Kremlin has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin could meet Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, but only if certain agreements were reached. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov did not specify what agreements would be required. From Russia's point of view, Putin and Zelensky have not met since December 2019. An exchange of prisoners between Russia and Ukraine has been agreed amid ongoing Russian bombardments. And finally, back to Algeria, where the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Salah Goujil, has hailed During the celebration of the International Day of Living Together in Peace, the efforts aimed at strengthening solidarity, dialogue, and decolonization, stressing that living together in peace is everyone's responsibility. Mr. Gujil wrote on his official social media account that on the International Day of Living Together in Peace, celebrated worldwide at the initiative of Algeria, the international community is on the brink of a precipice, while peace is drowning in the blood of Palestinians. He welcomed efforts aimed at strengthening solidarity and dialogue and putting an end to occupation, terrorism, extremism, and conflict, adding that living together in peace is the commitment of free people and the responsibility of all. And in the same context, our colleague Mariam Bershi has compiled a program devoted to the International Day of Living Together in Peace, coinciding with May 16 every year. Let's listen together to this program, which will be followed by another program devoted to Echoes of Time. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin in English. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
At the initiative of Algeria, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted on December 8, 2017, Resolution number 72/130, which proclaimed May 16th of each year as the International Day of Living Together in Peace. This day henceforth constitutes an opportunity for the continued mobilization